Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are on planet Earth. It's a turbulent place, and as I promised, I'm doing a live stream with folks at hands-off rallies around the country and others. Josette, if you were, I can't remember where you're at, Josette.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire is here. Like me, not everyone can get to a rally today.
We're in Hastings, New York, right on the Hudson.
So here's a rally starting in Hastings, New York, in the Hudson Valley, where I used to live, being projected
Amazing
by Patrick Jones and Lori Siegel, two of my old musical
Lori,
friends.
pay attention. We're online. Talk to Andy.
You are live.
Andy, love you for doing this. Love you.
So it looks like a good turnout already. And
oh, man, it's amazing. I mean, we can't barely fit in here.
Good.
People are talking. We're at the VFW Hall, James Daily Post on Main Street in Hastings on Hudson. There's got to be at least a few thousand people here. We have. Can you see this?
Orange. Yep.
Can you show this?
Orange lives matter.
Orange lives matter. Healthcare.
Yes, I know.
Can you get this?
Human right. Medicare
Healthcare is a human right. Here we go. Yes, we did. Hands off Medicaid. We love this country. We love America.
And that's why you're there.
All of you can think of one way that the cuts affect you, your children, an institution that you love, or
It's just amazing to me. I mean, astonishing and shocking how quickly everything is changing. And I think that's the thing that alarms me the most is it's happening faster than the courts and we can mobilize. So I'm really thrilled that finally things are beginning to move on our end, after so long of everyone being sort of paralyzed.
Yeah, that issue of the time lag between these actions and even, what the courts can do is pretty stark. I interviewed someone, it was a New York Times reporter, Linda Greenhouse, who used to cover the Supreme Court. I was on a conversation with her one day a few weeks ago, and I asked, when you have cases piling up this fast, how does the court even prioritize? And, there are these emergency decisions they make, like with TikTok, but, even as these cases work through the lower courts towards the Supreme Court, how does that work? And she said it's actually pretty strictly chronological. So the courts have this docket that just, and you can just see it's like cars piling up at a traffic jam.
Yeah.
And we think of the courts as one of the key domains for resolving some of these critical constitutional questions.
Yeah. And that's, I'm sure, as everyone has said, it's not original to me. That was the whole point, is to make it happen so fast we couldn't fight back. And,
right.
And that just infuriates me. But the other thing that worries me a lot is the way so many people, businesses, organizations are caving in advance. They're without even being threatened sometimes, they just do roll over on their back and put their little feet in the air. And I'm just horrified. I'm really proud. I used to work at Perkins Coie. And I'm so proud of them for what they're doing, because it's becoming rare. I mean, the number of law firms in particular, and they've got the money to fight this. They've got the resources. They're the perfect, if you want to fight Trump, a law firm is the place to do it. And they've got barracudas on staff who would rip him to shreds in court, but they're just not stepping up. So it's been a real disappointment to me to see how many people have given up.
Yeah, I know. And that institutional, it's across a number of institutions, the caving, including academia.
Yeah. And that surprised me too,
Yeah. So your background is in law?
No, actually, was a telecommunications manager at Perkins.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
I was on staff, but I worked with the lawyers constantly because they couldn't use their phones. They couldn't figure them out. They're brilliant in court, but don't ask them to set up a conference call. And they were really, really smart people. I mean, it was just amazing to me what they could do without even thinking twice. And I couldn't get my head around it. But
That's so interesting.
yeah, they were great. And the thing that I liked about Perkins, and feel free to interrupt me if we need to go to someone live here. But what I liked about Perkins was they drummed into me as a staff person that I was supposed to put the welfare of the firm above my own welfare. And I was supposed to put the welfare of the community above the firm because the firm existed to serve the community. And so I was there to serve the community. And I really like that because to me that is how all businesses should be run, with the idea of we're here to serve the community.
Wow. And well, given you worked in telecoms and the back end of a big entity, what do you think of the Doge part of this? I don't know how much you've tracked the intrusive or the way Doge is doing its work for the Trump administration.
Yeah, I'm not, I was in the voice side of the house, which is completely different from the data side of the house. And that's actually why I'm not in it anymore. I'm not as good with data as I am voice telecom. Yeah. But the thing that with Doge that worries me enormously is why are they doing this? Where is that data going? What is the plan for future use of it? And is it already stored in Russia somewhere, or who knows, Elon's basement? It really, really worries me.
Yeah, I know, and again, because some of it's extra governmental, they don't have the same freedom of information requirements. At least, again, it hasn't been adjudicated yet.
Yes, exactly.
That's the same issue.
I hadn't seen that 500 firms are backing Perkins. That's great.
Right.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, that article is datelined yesterday, so it's maybe it's a sign of some capacity to push back in the legal arena.
That's probably the office where I worked. I worked in Seattle on the 42nd floor, I think it was. And the view was incredible, but not so good for my fear of heights. I never looked out the window. I was like, I just so don't want to know how high we are.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over to TikTok, and there's quite a bit of activity in the live TikTok streams. Let me see if I can get this properly positioned here.
There's a rally here in Keene. I'm in Keene, New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 20,000 people here in Keene, in the immediate town, and then surrounding regions are probably more. And last time we had a rally, it drew like 400 or 500 people.
Hands off! Hands off!
That's great.
Hands off! Hands off!
And the Hands Off 2025 organization that's helped to facilitate getting this all going and coordinated has a very specific list of mandates and encouragements for safety and obviously nonviolence, which makes it quite distinct from some of the January 6th style events that we saw several years ago. And in the hard left, there was the Antifa. There were some violent protests early on. The first Trump administration that were pretty egregious too.
Yeah. So, I attended a webinar last night by the ACLU about how to stay safe. That was part of it, was how to stay safe while you're protesting. It was really kind of scary. I thought, wow, in the old days, we just worried about maybe getting arrested, but they were covering getting deported.
Charles Rotter, who's a pretty conservative, I'd say libertarian. Actually, I'd have to answer his question how he defines himself. He's critical on climate change and other things, but he says, look, we had an election, seems insurrectionary. but it's
Oh,
not an insurrection.
no. Have these
It's-
people never heard of a protest?
No, I know. And there was a response. Charles Rotter, we elected one man to run one of three co-equal branches of government. Trump is a traitor to his country. Wake up before January 6th, take 268.
Thank you for your
He's
heart, me.
totally right. You know,
Hold on a second.
not my main concern. I have so many. I can't say one is bigger than the other.
Yeah.
But I tried to get involved here locally, and I was really disappointed because the people that were kind of coordinating the local rallies really didn't have project management skills. They didn't sort of grasp the big picture. They didn't have a plan for how are we going to grow the momentum of this into something that makes change.
Right.
And so when I tried to sort of bring that up, they told me I wasn't being fun and joyful. I said,
That's
okay,
pretty
then
interesting.
I'm in the wrong place. I'll go where I can be kind of moving toward progress rather than
Right.
fun and joyful. Because right now I'm not feeling fun and joyful.
This is from Bangor. Think while it is still legal.
I like that.
But as you say, we have to act as well.
Yeah.
So the thinking to action part is really critical.
What I like about today and what I was trying to get them to do here locally and they didn't want to is the coordination of many, many people.
Right. Hold on. So here's Donna Nestler in the Hudson River Valley somewhere, I believe. Donna, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm actually in the Delaware Valley.
Okay. Can you sort of show us around?
Sure.
There we go. Another rainy rally in the Delaware Valley.
It's rainy here too.
In Maine, it's nice today. So Donna, what's brought you out today?
Solidarity with people who care about our rights, who care about our democracy.
Yep.
First time in like 70 years I have felt truly threatened. Show your sign.
Show your sign. Hands off our democracy and Ukraine solidarity T-shirt.
Oh, I love the shirt.
And they said they loved the shirt.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to keep walking.
Yeah. Just show us around. Keep showing us around. That's pretty fancy, Rick. So that's in the Delaware River Valley over western New York State.
This is so amazing. You know, I barely remember, but I kind of remember the 60s protests, the Vietnam protests, and to be able to do this during a protest is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, to sort of give it some, to me, you know, being on the ground is valuable, but then spreading the discussion, especially for the people who literally just can't get out to protest because they're unwell.
And that's again where I'm so glad you're doing this, and I think we need more of this because there are a lot of people who, for various reasons, they have kids and they can't leave them, or whatever it might be. They want to be involved, but they don't have a way, and going to a protest doesn't work. So there needs to be a way to tap all these people that have all this potential, but can't get out or be there for some reason.
Yep. So this is Boston, again, via TikTok. Let me see if there's any.
Boston ought to have a good-sized rally.
I think it's pretty big. Yeah, I haven't seen DC yet, but I'm sure. Here's Boston again. We'll just watch for a little bit.
Like, it's getting to the point where I'm going to be overstimulated very soon, and I don't do well with crowds, but I'm sticking through it.
Oh, Andrea Gaines
Because
is going to try to come on.
They're still coming down the street.
Good. Yay, Boston.
Yeah, you're Boston.
No, I won't take a pill. Thank you.
I hope today is massive. I really do.
There were some ancillary ones in Europe this morning.
People that
Good.
Like I said, I love the Tarte mascara that
Whoop.
comes in the two pack. It is brown and
And
it is
then there's
black.
that.
I love that.
Which
I
is
stuck the black one in my
the
pocket
other part of
yesterday, so I
TikTok.
think it's
And
still
Yeah.
a good
like, get rid of
sweater
it.
at the office to be
I'm on Blue Sky,
Oh
and
my
I've
God.
been disappointed in it because one thing that the Twitter does that Blue Sky doesn't seem to do
Yeah.
is show you the tweets of the people that you interact with. So when you go to your timeline, the first tweets you see are people that you kind of go back and forth with often. And
Right.
on Blue Sky, I never see anybody I follow. I have to physically go to their account and check it to see what they've tweeted lately. And so I just have been disappointed in the, ability to kind of connect with people online. Facebook, is different, but I refuse to use it because of Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I know. It's these media are becoming impossible. That question of who owns what and whether you keep using it or not is a troublesome one. I'm still on X/Twitter because as a journalist, I need to kind of see the full conversation, and I think Blue Sky feels awfully cloistered.
Yeah.
It's too clean and neat, and it is apparently losing viewership already. It's sort of like a bubble, like we had with Mastodon and a couple others.
Interesting. Well, I found that they're very intolerant there. That if you, and I found this with a lot of progressives lately, actually, is that if you raise a question or you say, I think that this could be more appropriate, they get enormously offended. And there's this sort of thought police issue that you get where people are trying to tell you can't say that. And I'm like, well, but that's censorship, and that's what the GOP does. Let's not do it too.
Right.
And it's just been shocking to me how, along with the polarization, we're also getting intolerance on the left. And I think that there's, if someone's not advocating for violence, we need to let them say what they want to say.
Yeah, I agree. As long as it's civil and within bounds of, the kind of thing you would do in a coffee shop.
Yeah, the kind of normal conversation that you would have. But boy, you get people on social media where they're anonymous and they just think they can attack and be rude and just, treat people in a sort of a dehumanizing way. And that's, to me, that's the whole problem with social media is we need more humanizing.
Yeah, and I've been struggling with this for a long time. I've been on social media, since the early days, and it felt like there was a time until around 2012 I was super optimistic about it as a way to connect and in unique ways around the world, so we could have these functional conversations and get information where it's needed to make a difference and the like. And then it started to degrade. The algorithms became more predatory and profit oriented, and then ideological. And so it's hard. To me, it requires the thing that is necessary is an active approach to it. So you're not just absorbing that feed.
Yeah.
Which is really just there it's designed to titillate or confuse or distract you.
And keep you coming back for more.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go on YouTube now here. There is, I think this is Raskin talking. He's in Washington.
Science is true, whether or not the Secretary of Health and Human Services believes in it. Let's all say with Maryland, hands off science. Anybody here from Virginia? The birthplace of James Madison, who wrote us the First Amendment. It separated church and state for the first time in human history. It gave us the right to speak freely, to publish freely, to worship freely, to assemble freely, and to petition.
I see we're back to tasting.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Supporting student protest. We shall not be moved. Standing on the water. We shall not be moved.
Singing out for immigrants.
We shall not be moved. Singing out for immigrants. We shall not be moved. Like a tree standing on the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
Fighting for our children.
We shall not be moved.
We're
Fighting for our children, and we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
some Spanish. No, 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 no se moverán.
No, 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 no se moverán.
No, no, junto a ti. Oh, no nos moverán. One more time.
Dios no nos moverán. No, 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 no nos moverán. No nos moverán.
We demand a ceasefire.
We shall not be moved. We demand a ceasefire. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
Protecting planet Earth and
We shall not be moved. Protecting planet Earth, and we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing on the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing
Whoops.
on the water. Be Lori, can you
Bravo.
It's looking right?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay.
That was great.
Hey.
That was really great. Perfect.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you get to some other folks.
Yep. Thank you.
Love
That was
you,
wonderful.
Andy.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That really was wonderful. The Walkabout Chorus is the longtime Hudson Valley folk community, inspired significantly by Pete Seeger, our old friend, who Donna and I and others used to play with a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, when I lived in that area, and Pete was just a great inspiration for all of us. Hello down there in where, Donna, where are you where specifically are you? Oh, you're muted. Hold on. I don't know if you muted you. I think you have to unmute your phone. I
Yeah.
can't.
I thought I had. Okay, this is.
Hi there. My name is Sandra Cuellar Oxford, and I'm thrilled to announce that we have just completed our hands-off rally in the Southern Catskills of New York, where the legendary 1969 concert Woodstock happened. That's the county that housed our wonderful, wonderful event here in the county seat. We're a rural county in the Southern Catskill Mountains, and we had about 300 to 400 people here today in the rain.
That's great, and it looks, it's very
From
inspiring.
on pumpkin sales with Pete.
Oh yeah,
Well, yeah, I had to remind everybody because not only did we have speakers, but we also had music. And, Pete was so wonderful. Pete Seeger really educated a lot of us who were with him and accompanied him that it's essential in our movements to have music and to have that type of solidarity and joy, and to be sure that we are bringing up the next generation of troubadours in our movement.
absolutely, and there are new ones emerging. Jesse Wells, I find to be incredibly inspiring. Who's not he's taking on targets like United Healthcare and the administration and others in a way that Pete would have loved. So thanks so much for organizing that rally today.
Thank you. It was with my community. Nothing happens alone here. We are a rural community and we are incredibly dependent on the public good. And we are going to do everything to interrupt Donald Trump and Elon Musk in deleting and defunding the public good. Thank you.
Yeah, one more second if you can. Josette, who is here from New Hampshire, she's been talking a lot about this morning or today about how do we make sure we move from assembly and protest to action pathways. So, like, what are next steps? Obviously, calling you legislators. What other things are you encouraging people to do?
We're finding our pack here. Today was an incredible day because many people emerged. Some folks that we haven't seen in quite some time. So it's a matter of reconnecting with individuals. And we had some new speakers. We had new voices join the choir. And we need to develop new leaders. I believe that in this moment, we're in a time where we really need to get behind new leadership and to new leadership that respects the continuum and that is able to look back and understand the shoulders in which they stand on, and that we could look forward to be sure that we have a future that is beautiful, that is viable, and that is sustainable for all of us. Thank you.
That's great. It's wonderful to hear from you. What's your name again? Just one more time.
My name is Sandra Oxford.
Oxford, great.
Yes, they call me Sandy or Sandstorm on the roller derby. I play competitive roller derby here in the state of New York.
Oh, well, you need sharp elbows.
No, elbows are no longer permissible on the.
Oh, okay. I grew up watching that stuff. That's wild.
Yes.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful example of community activism.
Yes.
Roller derby is definitely good practice.
Yeah, for the times we live in.
Yeah. And one of the issues here, she also mentioned what I loved was the continuity part.
Hmm.
That the continuity, making sure there's a new generation who's involved and new voices and everyone finding a path that suits their own skill set, I think is a really important too. For those who can't march, then there's letter writing for those who can't do that. There's doing what you can in your daily life to just connect with people across ideological barriers as one.
Making phone calls.
Making phone calls and just talking to people.
Yeah.
There is the possibility of building from the local to the national here that people, I think, sometimes discount. It's not just about Washington.
The other thing that worries me about these events, not to the point where I wouldn't go because of it, but it's just a general worry, is that I personally think that what Trump is hoping is it will lead to violence so that he can declare martial law.
Yeah, I know.
And so I'm just hoping today stays completely peaceful and there's no excuse. But at some point, I fully expect him to try to turn this into a military state, a police state,
Yeah, I think that's probably part of the timeline. It's almost inevitably part of the timeline for what he's trying to do. I had a conversation on my Sustain What webcast a few weeks ago with some European researchers who study democracy and autocracy, and they describe this point. There's a lot of potential for what they call a U-turn, where you end up with enough community, not just sort of protests, but law firms, people on the street, companies, the business sector, the courts, acting in ways that cause a U-turn back toward democracy. And sometimes, in some cases, it's actually improved. It results in a more perfect union, better democracy. But there are cases like Hungary where, if those in power stay in power long enough, it becomes cemented, and it's almost impossible to do the U-turn. So this, if what we're seeing from the law firms to the streets is the beginning of a sustained and civil resistance, then I think that can bode well for us to turn the tide backward. And of course, there's the midterm elections, and which will be a strong signal to Republicans who've been meekly hiding and not willing to confront some of the atrocious actions to really rise up. So we'll see.
And that was on your Sustain What podcast?
Yeah, I just here, I'll show you, or anyone who's watching. I'll go back. I'll go here. Yes, in the post that I just did about today's event.
Okay.
It's revkin.substack.com. I went back to the one here. Let me see if you can hear what...
Because I think I remember seeing that and saying to myself, I want to go back and listen to that.
In many instances.
Oh, it's all archived. So let me know if you can hear this. But this is one of these scholars from what's called the VDEM Institute, Stefan Lindberg. He said something really important here.
What's been very important in many instances of U-turns, but also in instances of democratization earlier, is popular mobilization. A lot of people out in the streets, a lot of people in the U.S. context call your congressman, right, or congresswoman. Use the power of mobilization in your interest for your rights and democratic rights and protecting them.
Good.
Yeah, so it has to be sustained mobilization and widespread, not just in the streets, in all walks of life, where people just aren't willing to kowtow to the truly undemocratic aspects of what's unfolding. And they just did this report that just came out on, this is autocracies around the world. It's kind of like a vital signs checkup they do every year on democracy and autocracy. And the patterns are discouraging overall. So here you can see in 2004, the number of countries moving toward democracy were 26, and there were 19 countries. In 2024, it's only 19 countries moving to democracy. Number of countries moving toward autocracy in 2004 was 12, and in 2024 is 45.
Oh, dear.
This is around the world. Freedom of expression deteriorating. 2004, 7 countries. 2024, 44 countries. Quality of election deteriorating, meaning, oversight, legality of elections. 10 countries saw deteriorating elections in 2004, 25 in 2024. So there's more. That's the downside.
Yeah.
The upside, he did say, they did find that the U.S. is we still have a functioning democracy. It's not, but it's because Trump has just begun.
Yeah. He's only had 100 days or so.
And not even the Democracy Report title this year. This just came out a couple of weeks ago. It was Democracy Trump ? And they had a whole special section on why we should be concerned about Trump 2.0. There's the attacks on the rule of law. There's purges in the military, and now in the national security. Just a couple of days ago, they're purging the national security establishment.
Yeah.
Attacks on freedom of the media.
Based on Laura Loomer's ideas.
Yeah, and then the Doge, sort of an extra governmental entity digging in on private information and the like.
And a friend of mine said something really wise back, it was months ago. It was probably 4 or 5 months ago when Trump first won. And I said to her, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm moving to Mexico. She said, no place is safe. She said, there's a global realignment. There are global forces at work to try to change the whole world. And she said, no matter where you go, you're going to run into the same thing. So you might as well stay here and fight.
Yeah.
And I think she was right.
Yeah, and there's a lot to fight for. It's a great country with unbelievable potential. And also there's potential for crosstalk with people who might have voted for Trump. There will be pathways as they start to examine economic realities, as Trump's record starts to concretize. There's some potential for some people to break out of that sort of cult-like support for what he's been doing. It's hard. It's a hard thing. But
I agree. It's been my experience in life that there are, I don't know what percent of the population, maybe half, they don't grasp a new idea until it's become too painful to continue believing what they currently believe. So only pain gets through. Logic doesn't work. Emotional appeal doesn't work. They sort of just get entrenched in their prejudices. And the only thing that shakes them out of it is their own personal pain. They don't care about other people's pain, but when it pinches them, then you have their attention and they suddenly realize, oh, this was not a good idea after all. So that's what I'm counting on, is enough Americans have been comfortable, but they will become uncomfortable and they will say, oh, big mistake, let's fix it.
Yeah. And then there's the privacy of the ballot, the voting booth, where, ultimately, if they participate in the vote, they can make that judgment outside the polarizing dynamic.
Yeah. Without their friends and family knowing.
Right. So it'll take patience and persistence and a lot of discourse, and we'll see how it all plays out. And I really appreciate, Josette, your coming on today to talk about this from your vantage point there in New Hampshire. And stay well, stay sane, and stay productive.
Thank you. You too. And I'll keep reading your posts and podcasts and look forward to it. I appreciate this, Andy. It was kind of like being there, only we didn't have to stand in the rain.
Now I got to get ready to sing songs at the Blue Hill, Maine Congregational Church to raise funds for their energy support for low-income families.
Oh, good. That's a wonderful way to spend your day. Well, take care and stay well.
You too. All right. And that's a wrap for the moment from Sustain What? My enterprise trying to use conversation to drive through complexity and contention and make a little progress.